Hey everyone, welcome. My name's Ryan and this is Developers Garage. I want to say hey to everybody in the chat room. If you're out there, you're listening, just say hey, let me know you're there. That way I know I've got somebody to talk to. And if you've got any questions, anything that comes up during this stream or anything you want to know more about, just post it in that chat room. I'm trying to be better at watching my chat room. So if you see me look down, that's actually probably what I'm doing. Unless I'm actually looking at the keyboard trying to get my fingers set correctly. Last time we ran into a little bit of lag issue. Hopefully I won't be doing any dev work on my streaming machine, so that lag should be very much shorter than what it was. As always, the rules, we are here to learn, we're here to explore, so please be kind, please be courteous to everyone, no matter what their design choices, whether they love working in SharePoint or VB.net, or if they're C# fanatics like me or Xamarin. I'm not a mobile purist. I prefer my mobile code to be in something that is cross-platform, and so that's why I choose Xamarin. I can see I need to work on my lighting just a second, so let me, 1 second, let me get my lighting piece here set up so I can hopefully fix the stuff that I was seeing up here on there. All right. That looks better. Okay. All right. So last week we finished up. We submitted our PR for the Stream Deck Tools, the update. You're going to see here, I've actually got it running on my dev machine now. Let's go ahead. Let's switch over to the code real quick. So now you can see it down there. I'm getting this camera pointing thing right over there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. You're going to see the actual project we worked on. And so it's actually the agenda, the rundown tool. Now, after setting up and getting it going, I did realize that the font on this one was a little bigger than the one I was actually using on my my other little forked tool that I kind of created, very similar to it. So we may have to make some updates to make that font either adjustable or shrink it down some, because that's a little big. I did have to do some adjusting that I wasn't planning on doing, so that's why it took the stream a little bit longer to get set up this morning. I am broadcasting live from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had a rainy, dreary morning, but the sun's coming out, it looks like. I think the rain may be moving past. Now, unfortunately, with the rain going away, I think we're going to get a lot of wind. Hey, thank you for following me. If you are new to this stream, I appreciate you joining, and check it out. Hit the follow button. It helps me out. One of my goals is to get to affiliate. As I move up in the ranks of Twitch, I get to do a few more things, set VIP status, stuff like that. So if you or your colleagues are out there, want to know more, want to learn more in development, please join us. If you're watching this on demand, hit the subscribe button down below. If you're watching me on Twitch, you're like, what is he talking about? This is for the people who are watching on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and you'll get notified whenever I put a new video out. I try to make sure that when I do a video, I will get it set up and I will get it pushed up to YouTube. Oh man, my apologies. I need to turn my smart devices off when I'm streaming. And so I want to make sure we have several avenues we're able to see this. You're able to come back to the Twitch channel and watch it later on. And so if you want to do that, that's great. That's awesome. You'll get to see what I see. One of the things that Twitch may do if I ever start getting music in here is they may start, they may cut out stuff if they think it's copyrighted. And so one thing I do, I record it here on my streaming machine, and then I upload that recording up to YouTube. Now, YouTube's filters may catch that stuff as well, but there's a better chance that they probably don't think it's as copyrighted as Twitch. I could be completely wrong on that, but I definitely want to get some music going on here, because it's like dead silence when I'm not talking, and I think that's why I talks so much sometimes. All right, so some things I want to bring up. So we have some great conferences coming up in the area. So if you are in the Kansas City area, which is the one of the headquarters of my company, Valorum Reply, KCDC is coming up July 11th through 13th. So if you're in that area, I mean, even in the Tulsa, up in Indiana, Illinois area, I think that's close enough. Check this conference out. It's worth the 4 or 5 hours you may have to drive or the hour flight. It's an excellent conference. Unfortunately, I didn't get picked to speak this year, but hey, that's okay. They had 900 submissions, and they could only take 200. So I feel good about those odds. So I feel good. I feel a little worse. It was like they had 205, and they could only accept 200. It may feel a little bad, but I've got several more opportunities to speak this year. Now I do have a question for you. Hey, Sean W. Oh, you did not. Oh man, congratulations, Sean, on getting to speak at KCDC. I don't know if I'm going this year. Depends on if my company wants to bring me up there just to attend. We'll see. But Sean W. is the president of our local Tulsa.net user group chapter. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for all you do. And hopefully in the next few streams, we're going to get to help you out. Sean is our fearless leader. So this is where I would normally have a nice sound that goes with that fearless. I was thinking something Rocky and Bullwinkle-ish. Sean's going to take me up there. I will take you up on that, Sean. You get your company to pay me, I'm on my way. That was the wrong button. There we go. That's much better. Just do it, Sean. All right. So, KCDC's coming up. I had one more I wanted to bring up here. I hate it when that mind just goes blank. Let's see if I can. Xamarin Developers Summit. If you are still looking for a place to speak and you want to speak, and you are a Xamarin person, or if you're a Xamarin fanatic, there's the Xamarin Developers Summit that is coming up. Oh, where did you go? Xamarin Developers Summit. So this is a Xamarin-focused conference. If you have been into mobile, you've been around Xamarin at any point, you may remember Evolve. I was fortunate enough to get to attend the last Evolve that happened. But then they were acquired by Microsoft, and you know what happened? They shut down the conference. It happens. So, but there are a lot of Xamarin people who are like, you know what, we missed that conference. We loved it. We loved focusing on Xamarin. There was just so much content around it. So some of I think they're MVPs, decided, you know what, we're going to create our own conference. And so they created the Xamarin Dev Summit in Houston. If you want to speak, they are actually still accepting speakers, I think, until, let me click on this. It's going to say until the end of the month, I believe. Yes, until March 31st. So I've got some talks I need to prepare and get submitted over on there, as well as NWA Tech Fest. So if you're from this area or you're from Northwest Arkansas, and if I could spell today, NWTechFest.com. Let's see. Yes, it is. NWT Tech Fest. It's going to be on April 18th in the great town of Fayetteville. So if you want to speak, they are still accepting there. But if you're also in that area and you're looking for a great conference to go to with some great content and speakers in a great area, this is a place to go. Now, I'm not just saying that because I want them to pick me to speak, but, you know, I kind of do. All right, so that's my spiel for the speaking. If you're in the Tulsa area or if you are in any area where there's a user group and you're interested in speaking, please reach out to your president, your group, and say, hey, I want to speak. Everybody wants to get better. Everybody wants to learn some new and great things. So it's nice to be able to speak in front of a group of your peers who are like-minded and are there to learn. It's a little less stressful. If you're wanting to learn and get and develop your career more, develop your skills, definitely find your local user group. So that's, guys, a good segue into our next project. So with the wrapping up of our last project, we've got the opportunity to do a new one. So this time we're going to help out our local user group and Mr. Sean W., our fearless leader, and we're going to help him update the group's website. So I believe this was developed circuit 2007. Sean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. He's been around there since then. Not president. I think he became president a couple years later. But it is using, which I did find this last night, Community Kit for SharePoint, the user group edition. Didn't even know that existed. I guess you have to scroll all the way to the bottom to figure that out. Anyways, so this is SharePoint. If you've looked at it on a mobile device, which I have, it doesn't scale well. Actually, it doesn't scale at all. It just shrinks this whole page down to very small. So we're going to help them out. We're going to update that. We're going to create a new website. We're going to use some newer technologies. And along the way, we're going to improve our skills. One of the awesome things, we have some, hopefully they're watching now. If not, they're watching later. We have some more people in our audience that are going to help us with this site. Some local members of our user group that they want to grow their skills. They want to get better, become more proficient. Some of them are new devs. Some of them are experienced. You know what? That's okay. We're here to learn. I can tell you the technology we're using, I'm not the best at. So we're going to learn some cool things along the way. So what are we doing here? So what are we going to use? We're going to use ASP.NET Core. Let me come over here. Yeah, I don't want you to see that. Let's see. Let's go back to Developer's Garage. All right. So if you're new to the site, new to the stream, let me say, we have our own repo out there on GitHub for our own, I guess, repository, our own GitHub repo for this stream. It's called Devs Garage. So you can go out to https github.com/devsgarage. Let me post that in the chat for those who are watching live, so you can join us along. github.com/ Hey, Jacres, there he is. Welcome back. And if I type it right, you'll actually be able to get to it. So one of the things I did was trying to keep the stress on my machines down. I'm using a third machine that actually has all the chat up. And of course, it's a Surface 3, I think, which with a actual Surface 1 keyboard. So I'm making use of every piece of technology that I've ever had. No pandas and no bamboo. Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining. So let me put this GitHub out there. Developers Garage. It's actually Devs Garage. Let's get that right. All right. Put that out there. So there inside the chat, you should have the link to this repo, which is where we're going to host the code. We're actually going to be hosting it inside this Tulsa DNUG website. I went ahead and created a little repo for us to use, and it's got a very rudimentary. Let's learn how to speak today. Little rudimentary README file. We're going to update that here in a minute. So one thing is we can sell on our agenda down there. We've discussed the project, so we know what we're going to do. We know what we want to do. So I did forget something though. So let's update this README now. It's a nice thing. You can actually do this inside GitHub now. We can migrate to Azure website sometime later. Sean, we can go ahead and set up a nice DevOps pipeline to pull from this repo and automatically send it out there to the Azure website for us. I think that'd be a great thing to learn. I've not pulled anything from a GitHub repo yet. It looks fairly simple from all the demos I've seen. So we may make that one of our pieces that we learn here. All right. So this repository is dedicated to revamping and continual improvement of the Tulsa.net user group website. Oh, look at Sean. He's already one step ahead of me setting up the pipelines there. Perfect. Thank you, sir. Upvote for CI/CD. Yes, Jeff. Everything we do from now on should be CI/CD. We should be able to just push it if it passes our tests. It builds. We send it on out. All right. So I'm going to add a little piece here. The technology we're going to be using for this project. Technologies. Because we're going to use multiple. I got some things that have been going through my head a little bit here about, some possible fun stuff we can do. Sean has the Azure website. No CI/CD yet. He is slacking today. Oh, Sean, what are we going to do with you? Oh, I forgot one thing I wanted to mention. A second ago, I mentioned Xamarin, the Xamarin conference. If you're in the Tulsa area, Oklahoma City area, little suburbs right around here, guess what? At the fourth Thursday, is it Thursday, Sean? The fourth Tuesday of the month, we are going to be having our next Tulsa.net user group meeting. And we are having the vice president, Steve, come out and speak to us on Xamarin. So if you want to learn more about Xamarin, you're in the Tulsa area, come on out. Let's see, come here. Here we are. We're at 61st. This is our address. This is where we'll be at. And we will be able to learn a little bit more about Xamarin, how you can get started. I believe it's Xamarin for non-Xamarin developers, if I'm not mistaken. I can go to the meetup.com website and figure it out. We are on meetup.com. Just go to Meetup, look for Tulsa developers. You're going to find our group. It has a great picture of Sean speaking up there. And come on out and join us. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to get to know you more. We'd love to make you part of our group. All right, so what was I doing here? I was doing something here. What are the technologies we're going to use? All right, so ASP.NET Core, of course. Why not? With Razor pages. And it's actually going to be Razor components. So one of the things I was thinking, I'm going to let you, the viewers, the developers are going to help us out, the members of the user group. My thought was with the launch of, Visual Studio 2019, coming in less than a month now, I believe. Maybe we should go ahead and let's use .NET Core 3. It's actually in Preview 3 right now. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that's okay? You think it's coming pretty quickly? We can go ahead, we can get started with it, and we can adopt some of this newer technology. And if nobody makes a decision, I'll make it, and that's what we're going to do. Sean says we can't use .NET Core 3. Sean, why can we not use .NET Core 3? It's because Azure Websites doesn't work with it. That's for WinForms WPF only Windows. Actually, it's not. So I've got this fun blog post out here that I'm going to post into this channel for you to read on, because .NET Core 3 actually has some great updates for Razor components and some of the tooling we use inside our .NET Core development. It also has this new Razor extension, so they are changing the way they do Razor. NW. Jockey says NW. No way, or do we want to say yes way? .NET Core always builds on Preview. That's right. So it is in Preview 3 right now. Let me get this, just one second. I'm going to get this link posted out there for everyone. That way you can see what I'm seeing. Oh, you old piece of junk. it works. ASP.NET Core 3 Preview 3. Okay. There's that one. Just a second. I'm getting this pulled up, and then we'll get it pasted into the chat window here. So I'm going to paste this first one first. If you want to get started with Preview 3, you can go over here to get it downloaded. Just pasted it into the chat. And then inside this chat, actually, it has a link. Not inside this chat. Somewhere in here, it actually had a link to the blog post that we have up here. This is why I just need to get one computer to run all of this. Let's see. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, yes, I want to go to the release notes. There we go. All right. And here is a link to the blog post. That is not the right one. I will get it right one of these days. This is it. You can get to it from that link, but here's one that directly goes to the website we're looking at right here. So let's get this shifted back. All right. So this is .NET Core 3 Preview 3. It does include new templates and supports the new .razor extension. And so this does change the way Razor's. It's going to make Razor more akin to, I think, of Angular. So it's going to actually let me, maybe even beyond Angular. So it's actually going to let me create class libraries for all these components if we need to. And it would allow me to bring those into my web pages and use them. So I don't have to keep everything in one big project. I could actually take it into multiple projects to help keep things nice and clean, reduce the build. As one component falls away, one section may go away. I just actually delete the project then once it's out of my page, and then it's gone. I guess you could say, I could just do that with a file as well, but this does allow a little bit better separation of concerns. All right, so we were editing this. So what does everybody think? Everybody out there, you think we should go for the latest and greatest preview? You think everything's just going to build on top and we'll be able to just keep flowing? That's kind of what I think. You know what the cool thing is? If it doesn't, a lot of the logic, at least a lot of the templating that we do, we can take and we can put it into something that we can make and reuse. It's kind of my philosophy, especially when learning new technologies. So we're going to say, always go for the latest. Yes, Jeff, I'm with you right there. I provide the links for you. I'm going to go ahead and I will grab them and paste them in here as well. ASP.NET. CI/CD may not have that version yet. That is always a risk you run when you run the latest and greatest. I think it's a toss of the coin, but I think we can work around it. I don't know what you all think. I think we can do it. I know Sean's playing that project manager role that pretty well there. He's playing devil's advocate. I appreciate that because that's what makes projects successful is you have somebody that's trying to be the realist and somebody that's always trying to push the limits. So they kind of balance each other out and you end up with a great product on that note. Says he's only seen DevOps pipelines that are behind versions of .NET Core, Linux, etc. That is true. I have seen that as well. They will tend to launch. They're getting much better, much faster. Let's play with it. Let's see what it does. Again, like I said, we can always revert back. We can take a lot of the stuff we've learned. We've at least learned something whenever we try these experiments. I believe, Sean, that these don't have them. I looked at them myself. They are typically behind, and usually you'll see a preview pop in after the release of the .NET Core, because the Azure team is trying to get things. They're trying to get things right as well for us. So, and we appreciate that. At least in Travis, you should be able to pull any NuGet package, at least in Jacques' experience. Yep. I think it's more actually of making sure that the agent we build on has the correct packages installed, the correct version of .NET Core installed, and that's usually what you get out of the box if you pick an agent that already supports .NET Core X, we'll say. All right, so .NET Core 3 preview. I'm going to put in here the links. Where we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this in here. Let's see how well I do, how I remember my markdown here. ASP capitalize everything. So .NET is all capitalized, is what I've been told. ASP.NET Core 3, Preview 3, blog post. And I believe this is the correct markdown. The cool thing is we can preview the changes here real quick. Yep, look at that. I got it right. It's like a roll of the dice sometimes. The odds are typically not in my favor that I get it right, but you know what? Sometimes they just come up sevens. Is that right, or is it snake eyes? I'm terrible at craps. All right. Sean thinks my task list is covering the latest chats. That's the next thing we'll go over. As soon as I get this done, we're going to go over kind of what Sean and I talked about in Discord, as well as what the tasks are out there and kind of the priority we want to go in. Sean, if you think of anything, you want to add any more details, or if anybody has questions on any of those tasks, I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, you can post those in there. And it's a great place to have the conversation about the specific task or issue that we have. So please feel free to voice any comments, any concerns that you have about any of the work that we're doing. Because the only time we get an awesome, great product is when the community or the developers who are actually part of the work ask questions. Developers are a lot smarter than we give them credit for a lot of the times, even our junior ones, because they're looking at it from a fresh set of eyes rather than a senior who's been doing this over and over for years. And we miss a lot. So please feel free to jump in, chat, say anything you need to say, and we can all learn from this experience. Okay, so there's the blog post. That's that. This is a blog post over .NET Core. I'm actually going to post this. And this is going to be how you can download. We're doing Preview 3 here. Ooh. Let's see. .NET Core 3. Preview 3. Jeff Johnson, are any requirements documented for this project to date? So yes, Jeff, we do have a set of a minimal set of requirements documented in our GitHub repo, and we'll go to that in just 1 second. Let me get this updated, and we'll get that taken. We'll get those we'll get on to our next thing, which is to go over tasks. Anyone can suggest a feature, then Ryan and I will discuss priority of that feature. That is true. So if you're not familiar with the typical .NET project structure, or not .NET project, any project development project structure, Sean is acting as the project manager, program manager, stakeholder in this case. I'm acting as as the tech lead, the technical lead on it, and then we have several developers from our user group who are going to be part of the development team. I'll be doing some development as well. So you will not be thrown into the fire all by yourself. I'm going to jump right in there with you. Oh, Sean likes the term product owner. That's right. Yes. Yeah, product owner. That is the other role when you get into an agile mindset. All right. So there's the link to .NET Core Preview 3. The other thing, so as Jeff said, always go for the latest. So I actually use the latest version of Visual Studio. So I'm using VS 2019. I love it. I'm using the actual RC, and it's in RC2 now that I just found out, and I spent about an hour updating this morning. Good thing I didn't do that just right before the stream, because we would be running a little bit late. All right, so I'm going to save this. Update README. And that's another thing you can always do, is you can always help with comments and updating our README, our documentation. That's one of the easiest things that you can get started with when you're helping an open source project. Even Microsoft says, if you really want to help us out, go through our documentation, submit pull requests to fix the errors, dead links, old code that's no longer valid. That's just a nice, easy task to get your feet wet, get you used to the process of forking the repo, making the change, committing it, and then submitting that pull request. And we like our pull requests to be small. So, because it reduces the amount of merge conflicts you could get. Plus, I don't like to spend hours upon hours just trudging through changes in code. I like little small ones that are succinct and to the point. And I know a lot of other people who look at pull requests prefer like that as well. Update README, add technologies being used. Commit directly to the master branch. One of the benefits of being the owner of the branch, I can just push things right to it. I don't have to go through the pull request process, which helps update this pretty quickly. Now, when I do code changes, though, I will be going through the pull request process because I want the community to be out there policing me as well. I write some awesome code. I write good code. I also make a lot of mistakes when I write my code. And so I like to make sure I always have another set of eyes, a second set, third set, fourth set of eyes looking at my code saying, hey, why didn't you do this? What are you doing here? Again, we're trying to make an awesome product at the end of the day. So there's that. Okay, so Jeff asked just a little bit, are we going to have any requirements? So actually, I'm going to go ahead and check off on our list over here, discuss the project, because we just discussed it. And so we have the initial set of lists. Sean created a nice product backlog for us in Azure. Unfortunately, there is a limitation to the subscription on the Azure sub that we have, which means we can't just add everybody who wants to help. And so that's the beauty of GitHub. We can open it up to the community, let you submit things, help us out, while we still have that policing. You still have the approvers on the pull request. I'm on there. If Sean's not on there, I'm going to add Sean to that to make sure he is an approver. And as we get things going along, we may add more and more approvers, more and more moderators to help us out, because it is a lot of work to maintain an open source product, a community-based product, especially because we all have lives. We have things happen, and so we want to make sure we just keep things going along. Backlog was made before MS bought GitHub. We should have still done GitHub, I mean, GitHub's was linked in before Microsoft bought them, but I can see what Sean's saying there. All right. So, Jeff was asking about our tasks. Here we go. So, we have several features we're going to do. We're actually going to take a lot of, I don't want to say lift and shift. That's a term used where you take exactly what you got there and moved it to a new technology. What we're doing is we're going to take a lot of the information that's in here, and we're going to migrate it over to the new site. Now, one of my goals before the stream was to actually get some kind of mock site up and running. Not site up and running, a mock drawing out there. Yeah, I didn't get to that. Work came up. I know, right? Yeah. Gotta love work, but they pay the bills, so they get to take a little bit more of my time than I'd like. But so what we're gonna do is we have a new logo that I actually need to go and I will put out into the GitHub, which will be replaced there. We will have. Let's come back to our issues here. Let's just go through them. We're gonna have a page dedicated to how to become a sponsor. What does it mean to be a sponsor? How can you get started? We will need probably a little bit more information, Sean, on this. Kind of the details that go into it. I don't know if there is a page like that already. If there is, then we can get that put in there. Join a discussion, find a presentation, view events. All right. Well, I don't see it in there. So Sean, we'll need a little bit more information on how can people become a sponsor. What do they need to do? Who do they need to talk to? Who do they need to email? Something basic we can get going with, and then we're going to make this thing better as we move along. Possibly a way to submit, send an email directly to you or Steve. Sean's going to get us the content for sponsoring and levels. Awesome. Also, if you have a section on saying, hey, these are the kind of sponsors we need, that's some other things we would like in there. So you know what? One of those things we talked about is if we're missing something or you got questions on there, come out here and just post in here, hey, what's missing? What's going on? So need to get content, levels, and current sponsor. Actually, no, that's probably not here. Content, levels, etc. Now, Sean, do you have a GitHub account? Are you Sean W122 on GitHub? I can add here so I can tag you in it. It may not let me do it because you're not part of the project. I don't know. Does it let me edit? Ooh, I can edit it. So, if you'll get me your GitHub stuff, I will put it in here, and that way it kind of tags you on it. It'll also let you know kind of things that you need to do as the product owner. So I can do that. So let's come back out. Let's jump back out to our list here. There, github.com/SeanW1222. And he just emailed the sponsorship levels to me. All right, I can do that. All right. Email newsletter. So I did find on our current page, we do have the link. So I did do that. And basically, .NER user group. Yeah. Ooh. I'll get it right. There we go. I got it. All right. And then let's go back to our issues. And this is the email newsletter. This is what we currently have. We currently have the feature. It's actually just a link. Takes you out to this, and we're up and running. Contact us page. So I didn't currently see one of those in there, so we will need some more information on that. Much better to have public discussion instead of emailing too much. Just a thought for the future. Thank you. That is correct. So I do it at work. I say don't email me because it goes into a big folder and a big abyss that I am terrible at email. But I'm trying to be better at Sean's email. He does hold me in check on that. He points it out. So I appreciate that. And yes, I will get that stuff out there. Let's see. And Jeff, there are also sometimes that you just can't actually comment on it. I mean, he may not be able to at this time, and so emailing is just something that's kind of quicker and easier out there. So not saying we shouldn't, but sometimes it is an option. And of course, sometimes when you're doing things, emails just kind of pop up at you. Close that. All right. Let's keep going down the list here. We got view announcements. Hey, thanks for the follow. I get the sound. I get to see it, except for the fact that I don't have a great view to see who just followed me. Whoever you are, thank you. Appreciate it. Say hi in the chat room. We look forward to your helping us out, the discussions. Every follow I get moves me closer and closer. Moves me closer and closer to my affiliate status, which lets me do a few more things inside this Twitch stream. Acknowledge those who are big participants. Hey, Jeff, thanks. So if you got friends, you got other people who are wanting to learn, point them this way. Tell them to follow us. They'll get alerts whenever we go live and when we start talking. And it's just a great way to get involved in the community, especially when sometimes you just can't get out and join those user group meetings for whatever reason. We don't hear your sound bites, just your voice. You don't hear it when it does that? Do you not hear a doe? Let me see that again. Well, that is not cool. It used to work. I will have to figure that out. That desktop audio used to come through on that. And you're right, I don't see it picking up on my mixer. Let me try something here. You know, Sean's got me all worried about my sound bites. I love cars. I do have one of those. I have a sad trombone. Grr. All right, let's try this. Let's change that. Let's see. No! Did that come through? Did you guys hear that? Your dope is not dope. I don't get that, Sean. Maybe that worked. Hopefully there we go. All right, cool. I don't know. It's like if I piped it to my headset, it wasn't coming to, because it's using desktop audio. Yeah, I'll figure this streaming thing out one of these days. I actually enjoy this quite a bit. I wish I could spend more time on getting this stuff. I'm not hip. I wish I could spend more time setting things up. Because then I could do, fun things like... That's always fun, you always need a Jeopardy theme going. And you're right, Sean, I am not hip. I am a dad. So I have plenty of dad jokes. Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining us. I'm glad you could stop by. I end up having meetings. You know what? That's actually a good thing I want to check. I need to check, make sure I don't have any meetings coming up. Let's look at my calendar. It's usually bad when I forget things. I have a 2 o'clock meeting, so I'm good for probably at least another 30 minutes. .NET Core for 400, Alex. Yes. All right. So we have all these. Create initial project solution. So if you are one of our members and you want to help out, you want to take an issue, come out here. So you can see here, assignees. Now, tell me if you can do this, because I don't know if you can or not. See if you can assign yourself to an issue. If you can, awesome. That lets us know that you're working on that and lets others know as well. If you can't, leave a comment in the on the issue, and I will assign it to you. How's that? That should work. All right. Yeah, I don't know who's going to replace Alex Trebek. It's been a staple since I was a kid. It's like Pat Sajak. If Pat Sajak and Vanna White ever left Wheel of Fortune, I don't know that I'd watch it. Not that I watch it now, but I used to watch it a lot. All right. So there's like that. So I am going to actually get started. Let's take a look at, I did create an ASP.NET Core Razor page just for us to look at, but you know what? One thing I want to do is I want to make sure I get this repo pulled down and show you all a little bit about how you can get started. You can fork it, make your changes, and then submit the pull request. So, I'm going to go D:. And if you hear it, my dog is actually snoring pretty loudly. If you hear something that sounds like they're falling asleep, that's her, not me. PoshGit, yes. So I am using PoshGit. If you have not used it, it is awesome. So I use PowerShell as my command tool. So let's go to C space dev. No, it's not C. Let's see what I have here. I have, on my D drive, I have Sandbox. Actually, I think everything's on the C drive. So, and I know just enough PowerShell to be dangerous. So I do have, there's my dev. All right, so if I come into some of these, like if I look at this Fritz Stream Tools, nope, that's not it. That's odd. That should be, oh, no, that's right. I have to go another level deep. PoshGit. So here we go. You can see it down here. I'm going to highlight it for you. What it does, it adds this little bit to your toolbar here, your command line. And what this is, it's git status. ConeMu is a great console utility for DOS Windows, PowerShell Windows, etc. Oh, I've not looked at it. I'll have to take a look at it. Is it open source, or is there can it be installed by Chocolatey or one of the other package management utilities, Sean? Anyway, what it does is it allows you, if you've got a repo, if you've got a Git repo, what it does is it reads that .git directory, all the changes that you've made, and what it's going to do, it's going to tell you where your current branch exists in relation to the head, as well as to the remote branch if you've connected one. So right here, this tells me that I am actually, the 3 lines here just tells me that my branch is in sync. I don't have any pending changes on my machine, and I don't have any, I'm not differing anywhere from the remote branch either. So yes, Chocolatey and free. And if you're not used to Chocolatey, I know I'm throwing about a lot of terms here that some of our newer devs may not be familiar with. So let's see, did I spell that right? Chocolatey. So Chocolatey is a package manager for Windows. What it does is it allows you to basically pre-install a lot of the software or some of the tools you're used to using instead of just downloading them from the website and then installing them over and over again. you can have this set up for you. You can actually also create, I don't know if they call them scripts, but you can create basically saying, from my PC load, I want to install these 4 packages. One command, boom, it starts installing everything for you. I use this on occasion. I will say that it is not something I use a lot, but definitely something I need to actually invest a little bit more time into. Right now, it's actually not approved for work use, so I cannot use it on my work machine. So it would have to be on my personal dev machine. There's that work thing getting in the way again. No, they don't get in the way. They pay the bills. They allow me to do this fun stuff. So, all right. Back to it. So this is PoshGit. I believe PoshGit's on Chocolatey as well. You can install it that way. They also have GitHub, so you can see exactly what they're doing. Install it from there. They also have executables where you can just download and install it onto your machine as well. So there are several ways you can actually get PoshGit installed. But all it is basically a way to easily see where your changes or where your repo is sitting right now. So let's come back out of here. And we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to clone our repo because we're going to create a new solution in there. I'm going to close. I don't know why that window's open. I'm going to come back here. So the easiest way that I found, where we go? Here we go. To clone the repo, come to the GitHub page, clone or download. And what it's going to do, it's going to let you clone this. So the button just copies that to my clipboard. And I can use Git from here to actually pull down that repo. Look at Sean. Sean's helping out there. So if you need to do a Chocolatey install, right there it is for you. See, even PoshGit. So, all right. So if you ever need help with Git, that -h doesn't work. It's --help. It lets you know what you can do. So we're going to do a git clone. And I can just continue to chain my, and so this one actually, instead of displaying it there, launches it here. Which, yeah, that works. Oh, by the way, I am not a Git master. like I said, I know enough about Git, like I know enough about your PowerShell. I'm dangerous and can mess things up really easily. But that's also the fun because you get to try and fix it. So we want to basically clone our repo. And I believe I can put in here the directory I want to if I want to name it one. But I don't know that I want to. I'm just going to do this. So what it's going to do, it's actually going to clone it into the repo name if you've not given it one. And so if I look here now, yep, Sean, git clone address, perfect. So I now have this website, Tulsa DNUG website. I can just change that directory. And you can see here, I'm on the master branch, and then my repo is up to date. And if I ever want to figure out changes or what's going on, status. Come on, Ryan. See, it's telling me that there's nothing to commit. My working tree is clean, and I'm up to date with the origin master. So what we can do here, and so I'm going to actually create a new branch. So create branch, develop, git, checkout, -b. Look at Sean there. It's like he's like reading my mind. See? Check out -b. We're going to follow Sean's steps here. He's right. So what we did here is we actually just created a new branch from our master where we were at, and we called it develop. And it automatically took us to that branch. Yes, my mind is scary. Ooh. All right. So now what we do is we make our changes here. we commit them to our local repo, and then we do a git push up to our branch. So here, because I've not actually set an upstream branch, because really what you're going to want to do is you're going to fork the repo. So one thing I didn't do that you're going to want to do is you're actually going to want to fork the repo. And it's going to fork it into your own version of GitHub. It's crazy, like things getting brighter and going down. So git push origin. Look at Sean. He's helping out here. But once you pull it down and once you try to push it up, it's going to ask you for your GitHub credentials. Because I've already, well, we'll find out who I'm logged in as, because you can only be logged in with one credential at a time. There's a way you can go into your credential manager in Windows and remove the one that is stored, and that way it will prompt you again. If you don't do that, there is another way where you can set up, go with forking though. Yes, Sean is correct. There's another way you can set it up to where you can have multiple credentials saved and be able to switch back and forth between them inside your commits. I've not done that. I just keep removing the credential and re-adding it. That's a little more mastery. That it's something I really need to get better at, because everything I do now is in GitHub. So let's do git push origin develop, like Sean said. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. And so if I come up here, I should actually see a new branch here. So I have a new branch here called develop, which is where all my changes are going to go. And then from this branch, I will create a pull request that goes into master. And that's the one that I'm going to have everybody review here sometime today. That's forking awesome. Thank you, Jacques. Appreciate it. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to create our new solution. So what do? We don't use the GUI anymore now. We're in command line world. So when you install .NET Core, the SDK, you actually, and the runtime, you actually get this fun command called .NET that you can run at the command lines, which lets us do a bunch of things. So if we do .NET, it gives us a little bit of stuff there, but if we do .NET H, we get to see a lot more, all the things we're going to do. So good Git training site, learninggitbranching.js.org. I have to check it out. Thanks, Sean. All right. So the other thing, we can do .NET new -H, because we're going to create a new project. So the other cool thing is, because I'm in .NET world, or the new .NET Core land, I don't have to actually have a solution for my project. We will create one because Visual Studio does want one. It still works based off of solutions unless you open it by a folder. I've not played with that. I always open it by a solution. But we still have all our templates. Everything that you're used to seeing inside Visual Studio, you still have here. You just have to type it out now. Wow, why did you do that? All right, so we want to do .NET. We want the brand new... there's React. Here's our new Razor Components one. This is what we're going to do. But you can see they actually have templates for Angular, MVC, React, a lot of templates out there that you can do. You can even get started with console. I don't see, no, there's WPF, WinForms. I'm sure UWP's in here somewhere. But you can also just create libraries. So we're going to do .NET new. And we said that was Razor Components. Now, we also want to look at the syntax here. because we want to, where did it go? Yeah. Welcome to .NET Core. By the way, McMaster command line utils will let you easily set up noun verb command structure like the one in .NET executable. Awesome. Thank you, Jacques. I've not used that. I've heard of some of Nate's work, seen some of it, but I've not used his command line utils yet. So we can put a dash name, and that's for the output being created. That's if we want to name the directory we want it to go into. So we're going to do, wow, Razor components. That's annoying that it jumps like that. And we're going to call this, what do we want to call it? Oh, naming is the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. Let's just go with what we have our repo as. Tulsa DNUG website. Oh, that's right. Got to put the switch on there. And all I'm doing is I'm just actually telling it what to name it. Otherwise, you will get by default, the original naming convention that you see, console app 1, kind of what you may be used to. I also think it actually may use the working directory you're in, but I could be wrong on that. So if we look here, we actually now have a new site called Tulsa DNUG website. So if we go in there, we look in here now, we have actually the sample project. So one thing that we want to do, I'm going to come back down one level because I do want to add a solution to this. Not Tulsa. New-H. Just look what we're doing. So what we're going to be using is the solution file. We want to create a new solution file. SLN. And we are going to call it Tulsa-DNUG-website. Now, if I look at my directory here, I now have a solution file. Now, if we look at this again, so we can do almost anything and everything from the command line that we want. So there's actually a solution -H. What we can do now is we can actually add projects to our solution, all from the command line without having to go to an editor of any kind. SLN. Let's see, add, and then we need the project path to the solution. So we're going to Tulsa, and I'm going to use nice autocomplete here, and we just give it where the project is, the project file, and it's going to add it to the solution for me. Now, if you have multiple solutions inside this folder, you're going to have to specify which solution you're targeting, but if you don't, it's just going to go with the first one it sees. So now the cool thing is, with .NET Core, you can actually load this up in Visual Studio Code. Try to enunciate here. You can pull it up in Visual Studio Code, or you can pull it up in Visual Studio 2019, 2017. I've honestly never tried to pull one up in 2015 to see what happens. It might work. I just say go get the latest community version and use it. So I'm going to close this solution here. And it's going to tell me. But one thing I want to do first, I want to make sure I commit the changes we just did. So it's real simple. From my working directory here, I can do git commit, and that's actually not true. I have to actually stage the file. So if I do a git status now, you can see this color is red. That's telling you something that basically you have unstaged changes, untracked changes, untracked files that you may want to. And so what we want to do is we want to stage these to be committed. And that's as simple as just doing git add. I'm going to use a dot because I want to add everything. And now you can see here, I've got 31 files that have been added. And now some of you were like, why did it say 2 and now it says 31? What it was doing, it was actually tracking directories. So I had a file actually, and then a directory that was untracked. And so it didn't actually go and say all the files that were untracked at that point. It was just the directory. So if I look at the git status, I actually now have all this stuff that's in there. And so from here, and you can also see that they are changes to be committed. Also, you're going to hear the term staged. So we're going to do a git commit. -m is for message. Basically what I want to say in the commit. And we're just going to say we created initial project and solution. Boom. There we go. And next thing I also want to do is I'm going to push this up. So Git's awesome, and it allows you to track all those changes. But what's the death roll of developer? What's the death roll? What happens? Always provide a good message of what you're committing. Yes, Sean, that is correct. So I'm going to say I've never had it done. I think I have. It's been a long time, but if your machine dies, it doesn't matter how good your Git repo is. It doesn't matter that you use Git or you're using some kind of version SVN, something that's on your machine. If that machine dies, that repo's gone. All your work is gone. So just like with anything in a website, any kind of Word or anything, save often, okay? So we are saving, but guess what we want to do? We want to push those changes up. So it's just simple git push. Oh, of course. Git origin develop. I thought I did that already. Git origin. That's not right. Sean had me do it earlier. Git push origin develop. Yeah. Oh, okay. So what I didn't do, what I'm used to doing is I usually set the upstream there so I don't have to always say git push origin develop. And I just say git push. Because like if I do git push again, it's going to give me that error that I need to do that. But if I do git... Now, Sean, you may have some insight into why I wouldn't want to do the set upstream. I don't know off the top of my head. If you've got an answer to that, I'd love to know a little bit more about it. I just normally do this because I like typing less. So that's actually what that does is that tracks that remote branch for me. And so now I can just do git push, and it's going to everything's going to be up to date. And then git pull, everything's up to date. Just for newbies. Okay. So let's go ahead and clear this out. Let's open our new project and let's see what we get. I have about, I don't know, I probably have about 12 more minutes. I think we can get through. Git branch -a. Okay, Sean, explain that one. I understand git branch, but I don't understand -a. I want to open a project or solution. And again, everything I just did with that .NET command line utility, you can do from within Visual Studio. I just like using the command line utility because it's faster. And because I may not always have Visual Studio. See list of all branches, including the remote. I guess next time, Ryan, you should just try it.
Just do it!
Yep. All right. There we go. Look at that. That's the other thing is when you do a git pull, it's actually going to pull down all the remote branches you have out there as well. So you can see I have master and develop. The asterisk is telling me what branch I am currently on. Now, if I didn't have git posh git here telling me that, that would be a way I could tell. All right. So I want to go to c:/dev. Tulsa DNUG website, this solution. So the other thing, if you've not set up Visual Studio to work with preview versions, you're going to need to come up here to go to the Tools, Options, Projects and Solutions, .NET Core, and select this Use Previews of the .NET Core SDK. I can't remember if you need to restart Visual Studio after that or not. It's always, I always find it good and safe if I make some changes, especially like this. I shut it down and just restart it. But I've worked with the previews, and so I set it up. The other thing is, if you're updating your version of Visual Studio 2019 preview, I have seen it with updates that this actually gets unchecked. It doesn't maintain that. They may have fixed that in the newer versions, but I did find, actually that may have been going from preview to release candidate. It didn't keep this, and so I had to redo this. So that's just one of the changes. In order to be able to use this preview SDK until it comes out, we'll have to keep that checked. And on that note, so we can use .NET list SDKs if we want to see what SDKs we have installed. So in order to develop, you have to have the SDK or the software development kit. If you just want to run the website or run a .NET application, .NET Core application, you just need the runtime. The runtime is going to be much smaller. And that's one of the beautiful things of .NET Core. So I can look at SDKs. You're going to see quite a bit here. I know they're working on something because I think, as Jacques actually pointed out as well, that all the .NET Core versions are built one on top of the other. But sometimes you want to make sure you keep the major versions around. A lot of these minor ones, especially the previews, you want to be able to get rid of those, or just update, in place update. And I know that's actually, I've watched the Visual Studio stand up, and I've heard, I think it was Emo Landworth or one of them talking about that they need to find a way to be able to clean this up, because this can easily get out of hand, especially at the pace that they're moving. All right, so let's come back here. I always like to run things just to see what it's like before we get started. So while it's running, wow, that was much faster than my Jeopardy song. Okay, well, that's okay. But you can see what we got here. We actually have a Razor page or website out there. I click on these. This is kind of the new Hello World I found. Like if you do their Angular template, this is kind of the stuff you get. Looks a little different, but click it. Just showing you it's actually using a service here to fetch data. So if we come back here, go ahead and click stop. Let's look at the way we got our project set up. So like all .NET Core stuff, we have our startup file, which says sets up, configures our services, sets up our routing, and also sets up a little bit of our web server pieces, HTTP redirection, static files, and such. You can see here it's adding. So this is stuff that we would have to add. You want to make sure you add with any new Razor Components project. They're adding newtonsoft.json. One of the cool things I did see is there's actually a new version. They now come with it's like a new version of Newtonsoft. So this is actually adding Newtonsoft JSON, but Microsoft is actually including a built-in JSON parser, which is supposed to be faster than Newtonsoft, to be able to handle JSON parsing. So you can easily get your files and stuff in and figure out what's in them. I was reading about that last night. So if you're new to my website, you may see me just shoot off onto a tangent, but I'm going to try to make sure I redirect myself. Okay, so make sure I update our task thing over here. We did go over tasks. We just created the initial solution. We did push it to GitHub. Next steps are, I want to go through and I want to clean this up. Actually, I need to do a PR for that, don't I? And that way everybody can see. But I want to go through this real quick. I have 6 or so minutes. It's still his Newton Soft. Is it really? I know he's the one. I know they actually, so the guy that wrote Newton Soft, I know they hired him. James Newton King works for Microsoft. Yes. Yep. I knew that they hired him. I knew it was his work, his idea that was being brought in. But you're right. It is still his Newton Soft, but I think it's actually a slimmed down version because they talk about it being much more performant than Newton Soft because it takes advantage of some of the new structures in C#. The span, specifically the span T, allow them to, without having to create new objects and stuff as they start parsing all that. It allows them to use a little sliding window per se. So, all right. So we do have pages here. We do have certain things. And it caused issues. What issues did it cause, Sean? So we do still have our index.cs HTML, which is just the base page where we load. You can see that it's got some directive-based stuff in here. So we exclude some developments. In development, we exclude this. Got some base information here, our base href. Sean's going to find the post and get back to us. Thank you, sir. Links to our CSS. And it also has this await HTML.render component async app. So if you're familiar with Angular development, you know the concept of you have this root component, this root module. Same concept here in Razor. We have this app.razor, which is our root, the root of our application. And so we have a router. So it is setting up a router, and it's basically type of startup, which is this part here. So it runs that. So this is actually, our program, we always start with the program file. I skipped this part, my bad. But it's where we configure our host and get everything set up and running the website. Inside the website, it says, hey, we're going to actually use startup. It actually set it in the host as well. And do some additional configuration. So we do have this app.razor. Sometimes the weather in Oklahoma just kills me. All right. And then, like we're used to in Angular, everything's a TypeScript file. Well, in Razor, all your components are Razor files. So that's actually a change from Preview 2 to Preview 3. In Preview 2, the components were .cshtml like this. But they wanted to get to this. It was their incremental steps. Look at the project type. Sean wants to look at the project type. Is this when you want to look at, Sean? No? Yes? Maybe this? Output type. Console application. I think my stream is starting to lag more and more as we move on. Console app. Yep. .NET Core, I'm pretty sure everything in .NET Core is a console app now. We just have all these other pieces that actually make it do things like, I think we're running Kestrel is what it's using to actually serve up the web application. But I think as you go more and more, you start looking at everything is now becoming a console application. I think I was even reading in some of the latest versions of .NET Core 3. Class library is another. Let's look at that. Windows application. So we still have a Windows application and we still have class libraries. But I found even a lot of the WPF and maybe UWP applications are now coming with coming with executables to be able to run them, instead of, I think before they just had like UWPs had an AppEx. So we have our things here. We have our individual components. So we have the index, we have the fetch data, we have the counter. All those pages we just looked at on there. So they're all components built in there. We have our main layout. So in our shared, we have our main layout, which is basically, we have our body. So I'm going to tell you, I don't know. I've not really worked with Razor, so I'm going to be learning right along with everybody else about exactly how things are working in Razor. So we have this body tag. So this is the basically the base of our application, and we have a nav menu. So let's look at some of this stuff. Excuse me. So here we have, basically we're using navlink to specify our navigation menu, which you see over there on the right. Let's come over here. Because I stopped it, but I'm betting, oh, it actually shut it down. Normally IIS Express keeps running in here, but I can't start without debugging. That's one of the cool things I can do. So we have our nav menu, as we saw there. Which then has links to all this. We have a little function, which this is, I believe this is C# in here instead of JavaScript. Don't quote me on that, but from everything I'm looking at, it all looks very C# like. And basically has string nav menu CSS class. So it has a way, basically in here, we can change this. It's going to update this class, probably TypeScript. That's a very good chance. But the lines are blurring so much between TypeScript and C#. It's pretty soon I'm never going to know what the difference is. Until it gets transpiled and I see all the JavaScript that's generated. But hey. But it has this function here. So we have this toggle nav menu. So I have up here, if I look over here, I actually don't see a way to toggle it. It must have some way to, that goes to the root. It makes me think there's a way to actually toggle it, but I don't actually have a button here to actually click. Okay, well, this TypeScript renders to C#, I think. Yeah. Cool. All right, so we have that. So there's our nav menu. That's the one component we see. We have our main layout, which tells me, there's the router. Somewhere in here, we're actually registering. We're looking at these components in here. And so let's find where that's at. At layout is main layout. So it's actually going to call over here. So this inherits from layout component base. Aha, here we go. So here's where we define nav menu. So this is where the sidebar comes in. And that's referencing this nav menu here. Now how it knows to call it nav menu, I don't know if it's, my guess it's actually convention based. So the name of the component is how I reference it in here as the tag. I'm just grasping here. But you know what? We can create a new, let's see. Let's create a new component here and see what happens. So I want to go to ASP.core. See, it likes Xamarin Forms. It's smart. Xamarin Forms is going to be coming in here soon, and it's just going to rule the world. XAML over everything. Silverlight, remember Silverlight? It's coming back. except it's coming back as Xamarin. Mark my words. March 13th, 2019, 1:34 p.m., Ryan is predicting that Xamarin is going to take over the web, the mobile, the desktop. It's all going to be Xamarin at the end of the day. I want a new Razor page. So that's the page. Actually, I want a Razor component. Razor view. No, that's all old stuff. This could be a flaw in .NET Core. Not .NET Core. It could be a fault of Visual Studio. Because if I search here by Razor, because I want to create a new Razor component, I don't see Razor component there. And the reason I'm not thinking I see it because I don't have all these are CSHTML files, and it's also not. Not Silverlight, says Jockeys. Nope. Silverlight is not coming back, but it was just the precursor, letting you know that XAML is the future. Hey, I learned Silverlight because I didn't want to have to learn Flash. That's the reason I learned Silverlight. All right, so the one thing I do believe I can do is I can also use the command line for this. .NET new -h. I'm actually going to have to change my directory structure here. So that creates that. Class library. Don't want a library. I want to create a new file. Yeah, Sean, Silverlight did get beat by the HTML5. I liked it. I thought it was awesome and loved working with it. HTML5, you didn't have to download anything, and that's going to win out every time. If you don't have to add something new to your system, people are going to easily gravitate to that. All right, so that adds package reference new. New is kind of what I think I want to do. -h, but I want to do a new. So that's the web. That's a config file, solution file. Razor class library. See, these are all projects. So there's a Razor page. So that's the web app, Razor pages. Let me look at something here. Let's go to our website that tells us about this. So this may be an interesting problem we have to solve here. New .razor extension, because that's what we want to do. We want to create a file with the Razor extension. They're authorized using Razor syntax, but are compiled. Look at .NET add. So Sean says .NET add. So .NET add, it's a package or reference. I think that's adding an existing file to a project. Build, clean, help, list, migrate, MS build. NuGet new pack, publish, remove, restore, runs. All right, come here. Razor components. To set up pre-rendering, Razor components. I looked away. What am I trying to do? Jockeys, I'm trying to figure out how I can add a new Razor file. Wait, is this create a new Razor class library? I want to create a new Razor component. So that creates a new app, that creates a new component. add a component.razor file to the class library. So I don't like the fact that if I right click, okay, reference, add razor components app1 reference class. So that's adding a reference. So see, they didn't give us a .NET. I don't know that there may not be a .NET command line to add a new file. But what's more annoying is I want to add a new item here. -O web application 1. What's the -O do? The crazy thing, I just tried to take my mouse from my screen to go down onto a separate machine. That's when your mind and everything's disconnected. Everything should be as one. I should be able to easily move. All right, so I'm running short on time. Let's try it, Sean. You know what?
Just do it!
That's right. Okay. Let's do... Now I think I need to be in my application here. So we're going to do .NET new razor components -O synergy of Microsoft Garage. We'll let you do that. Oh man, I know. I need to update my stuff. I need to get better hardware because
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Nope, no time for that. All right, -O, and I'm going to actually place it in components /shared, and we're going to call it, let's see, is that what I want to do, Sean? Let's see what happens. Let's come back over here. That created a whole new project, Sean. So is the razor component a new project so that it can be used in other sites? So this time we're not doing the new project just yet. And so I'm actually going to see if I can delete this. Yeah, get it all gone. Now, did it actually delete it? Yes, okay. Yes, and learning is half the battle. That's what we're here for. We're all here to learn. I'm wondering if it's just, is it as simple as add new item? Can I just a blank C#, an empty classic, blank C#? It's not going to be C#. Is there a way to do just like a blank file? So let's try this. I want to try this here. See if this works. Because I think it makes me select something here. Yeah. Can I do a text file? Let's see what happens when I do this. Test.razor. So it may be this simple that, I say simple. It's not simple because I shouldn't have to do that. But I could say div Hello, Twitch. I don't need any functions. I mean, maybe it wants the functions. Is that the syntax for that? Yes. And so can I come in here and let's set that up. And so this is trying to go, can I just set this as, goes to counter, match all. Where is, so that says counter, that's going to counter, fetch data. What if I say test here? Do we think that'll work? Let's rebuild, let's try it. All right, so I am debugging this. So if I hit refresh here, hopefully it's going to, it's still, oh, there it says test. If I come here, hello world, welcome to your new app. So that didn't work, not completely. All right, so it tried to go to test, but it didn't take me. Do I have to register these components somewhere? Oh, look at that. There's some decoration I have to do, it looks like. If it's a page I want it to go to. So let's come up here, let's call it a new page. Yep, okay. So there is some nice decoration. Could be that docs suck, but everything I can find about 3 still shows CSHTML. I think the docs suck, honestly. So Microsoft, if you are watching or you watch later on, when we put the previews out, we need to get some good docs around that preview, at least to give us those exploring a little bit more information than what we're doing. So I think that may work. There it is. All right, so it's just more decoration. So while there is not really any good documentation around there, there is, we can use the existing template, the existing sample to infer a lot of what's going on. And that's all I did here was I looked here and I saw that there's actually this page. I say directive, that may be, it's Razor syntax there, basically. It's an attribute defining this page, and this is actually the route it's going to. So it's actually helping configure the routing here as well. So on a new page, I can define the routing. So that's cool. The other thing that I saw that we may be able to do is, so this had nav menu. I'm wondering what happens if I do that right there. Kind of have an idea. Maybe it won't work. Maybe it will. We'll see. That page directive could be getting in the way a little bit. Oh, look at that. Jacques found them. Thank you, Jacques. All right, so what I'm going to do because I don't know why that didn't work, because it should have worked, but it didn't work. The one way to test it out is I'm going to remove this page directive here. Let me rebuild. Builds rather quickly. I love it. Do a hard refresh here. Okay, so that still a little bit I got to learn. Basically, it is the Razor version of Web Components Standard. Okay, Awesome. Because really what should have happened in here is we should see a, based on what I thought was going to happen, this nav menu is here. Oh, no. Main. Because it does see that it's a page. I wonder if it's... that may have something to do with it. Let's drag it back over here to share it. Let's see what happens. And let's try this again. Nope, I expected my information to show up down here. That's not working because I did move it. I did remove the directive. So at least I know it's refreshing, but it is not. I wonder if I can... And it's just not showing up. Sidebar, there it is. So, I bet it's, it is there. Oh, it's just, because it is black, it's hard to see. So it did show up there. Now, let's undo what we did here. Oops. Refresh the site. Let's see. Yeah, I know that doesn't work. Oh, it's still there. Okay, so yep, that does work. And then when I click on this, it doesn't go anywhere because nothing happens. All right, so yep, that's the new way we can. That's the other way we can reference Razor components as we build these components as we have in our GitHub repo. We can then reference them on the main page as we're looking at. Just like this. It becomes a tag now, which is pretty cool. All right, so I am going to undo everything I just did because that actually doesn't do anything. That doesn't help us. We're just exploring. Yep, I want to do all my changes. If I do an ls here. Let's look at my status here. What changed on me? Component shared test.razor. So I still have that test. So when I just undid everything, it just undid the, it is now under Blazor, server-side Blazor. Makes sense. And if it is Blazor, then it is C# that we're writing in that functions block. Because that's what Blazor is allowing us to do, is bringing C# to the web again. So if it is, that's awesome. I'm good to see Blazor coming out. So I want to delete .razor. Is it del? Yeah. There we go. All right, so we do have everything there. Unfortunately, I have another meeting to go to, and which means I'm not going to be able to show you how to do that PR. But I am going to do the PR, and we'll talk about it next time on the stream. If I did this again tomorrow at lunchtime, would everybody show up? Would anybody show up? I'm trying to do this a little bit more, and I think if I make a few shorter sessions throughout the week, I can actually stream a little bit more often. So I think I may do that. I may think tomorrow I'm going to try it. We'll see how it works out. All depends on my schedule, but I will post out onto Twitter. You can just find my Twitter and everything up top, as well as I think it's just got my Twitch stream as well. Twitter's over there, over there in the corner. So I'm going to try doing it tomorrow, 12 o'clock again. Again, I'll post out on Twitter. I will also post out on Twitter when I get this video uploaded to YouTube, where you can watch it. Or if you want to rewatch it on Twitch, you're more than welcome to come back to the stream. Again, if you haven't followed, click the follow button. You'll know when I come online. I'll wait a couple minutes for everybody, for everybody to get on before I actually get started. Sean can't make it, but email him when he's needed. Sean, you're always needed. You should know that by now. So, thanks everybody, and I'll see you all tomorrow.